After years of debate, rules are changing for food trucks. Following the Planning Commission's lead on November 8th, county commissioners voted on new rules for street vendors. They can now obtain temporary use permits to operate in commercial and unincorporated parts of the county. Food trucks can set up next to businesses, and two vendors can be on the same property, more if there is a special event. There are 23 legal food trucks operating in Sarasota right now, but some restaurant owners argue the trucks have an unfair advantage, unburdened by property taxes. So, are these changes good for the area? Do they need to be expanded even more? And joining us for more on this topic tonight is Chris Jett, founder of the SRQ Food Truck Alliance, and Phil Solizano, who owns Solizano's pizza locations on Siesta Key and in Gulf Gate. And I'm still angry you didn't bring any pizza with you.
Hey, I'm impressed that you got my name right, so I give you credit on that. Good job on that.
Well, you know, you're coming from two different perspectives. Phil, you own a food truck, but you're not a fan of them really having access around the county.
Well, I was going to say two different perspectives, but my perspective also is both at the same time, because I'm not going to have like a biased kind of idea towards it or, you know, way towards the thinking, because I have a food truck and I have restaurants.
Then what's your concern?
Well, my concern is I liked what they had before, and the fact that a food truck couldn't come up to a restaurant. You know what I mean? Because you have to respect the businesses. If you see my food truck anywhere and it's parked in front of another restaurant or in something like that, another business, it's not selling food. It's just parked there either because my restaurant, I have a location next to it, or it's just parked because I'm delivering something. But to set up food in front of another business that's already selling food, we pay taxes, we pay high rent, like on Siesta Key, ridiculous. I mean, I can't imagine if a food truck pulls up in front of my pizzeria and starts selling like slices for $2. You know what I mean? It would be an impact on my business.
Chris?
So that's the issue I have with that.
Well, I don't believe that it can harm restaurants, but that's okay. I mean, I know Phil, he has a great restaurant, great pizza there.
Thank you.
Now, I know he has a food truck, but he doesn't operate as a mobile vendor. He uses under his restaurant as a catering licensing. So what he can do is he can take that and take it to festivals and so forth. But he cannot pull up on private property and sell as a mobile vendor. That's a completely different license. And what we've been talking about, what we've been working towards, is for mobile vendors as food trucks. The difference between a mobile vendor and catering is that he does all his work at his restaurant, and then he puts everything in the food truck into the truck, and he takes it and he serves it in catering.
What about the essential point that he's making, that the mobile food trucks are not paying property taxes and they can undercut the prices of restaurants who are nearby?
There are some pizza. There is one pizza truck in the area, and they do sell pizza by the slice, and they do sell it for $5 a slice.
Yeah, I'm not even just talking about other pizza. I'm just saying like food in general. Like the whole argument that I'm having is for another food vendor to pull up in front of a restaurant. That's the problem. That's not right. That shouldn't be like that. Like what I'm concerned is if someone goes to Gulf Gate and they park in front of the street and they just start selling hot dogs for $1. Like, are you serious? Like, that's not how you do things. Like, I pay water, I pay rent, I had to advertise to get there, and some guy's gonna pull up and sell food and undercut me, cut throat. I mean, that's bad business. You know what I mean? You don't do stuff like that.
Have you seen, I know you've been to California, you've seen the food truck scene. Okay.
But see, Cali and New York is different though, because it's very busy, there's overpopulated.
Well, okay.
That's the reason why.
What the food truck scene does, it's vibrant. It brings people to the area. Now, there has been, the Institute for Justice has put together studies, and they have put food trucks out in front of restaurants for a period of 6 months. And they saw an increase on average in every area that they did it of the restaurants increasing their business by 7%. Why? Is because you are bringing more people to the area, and we see it every day in our food truck. Every day. We will be set up somewhere where there's because we were at a festival. And this just happened recently. My wife said that a customer said to them that, oh, I didn't know about that restaurant. We have to try that next week. It does increase business because it brings more foot traffic.
We have less than a minute left, but Phil, I want to give you the last word here.
It just depends how that works, my man. Like I said, I mean, where was that study
That was done in Miami, that was done in Philadelphia.
But I mean, Miami and Philly are completely different than Miami, Philly, New York, and LA are different areas. There's so much population, so many people. You can do that. You can sell hot dogs in the street. And 5 people walk by, one guy got a hot dog, the other 4 people come to your place. But you can't do that in Sarasota or Siesta Key, especially in slow season. Or even busy season.
We are not going to go on Siesta Key. We do not
if you don't go to Siesta Key, then hey, have a good time, brother. And don't go to Gulf Gate either.
We have to take a quick break, but there is much more with our roundtable coming up. But when we return, we'll bring you a check on our local forecast. Stay with us. Welcome back. Less restrictive rules governing food trucks in Sarasota County are here. While they are good for vendors, could they be detrimental for restaurants? And joining us for more on this is Chris Jett, founder of the SRQ Food Truck Alliance, and Phil Solizano, the owner of Solizano's Pizzeria. Chris, here's what I want to get to, and what many people who are watching this tonight may be thinking about. There are such strict rules in terms of restaurants by the health department, in terms of codes and enforcement. Does the same strict rules apply to food trucks?
Yes, and even stricter. We actually have double the amount of inspections a year than a regular restaurant does. We have to follow in the same lines as any restaurant. They come and they inspect us every 6 months. And here's the fun part. The Institute for Justice did a study and went through all of the health inspections for every restaurant and every food truck in Sarasota. And in Sarasota County, we have, on average, 4.3 less health code violations than the restaurants do.
You know, I think we have to make it clear, and Rick Sethapiece did make it clear. We're talking about the greater Sarasota area. The food trucks in the city itself are a different animal right now, unless there are changes that are made. I'm thinking about events that I've gone to in places like Lakeland, where on a Friday night downtown in the park, surrounded by restaurants, there is food courts from all over the place, and it's really a community event. Would things like that trouble you?
I mean, downtown, it wouldn't trouble me because I'm not downtown. But if I did have a pizzeria downtown, it wouldn't trouble me if they were selling other stuff besides my cuisine. You know what I mean? My pizza or whatever I might be selling. But I can't see any restaurant being happy about any food vendor selling their kind of food in front of their store. I mean, I just can't see that. Unless it's some crazy event that the food truck's bringing all these people there and we're going to eat off it too, then that's the only way it would make sense.
The last food truck rally that we had here in Sarasota, at the Devon here in Sarasota, we had over 4,600 people. Not all, and food trucks and restaurants are different in many aspects. One is that we don't have bathrooms. Two, we don't have tables. And if it rains, we're out of business. So basically, people who are going to eat at a food truck will not eat at a restaurant and vice versa. When we're open for lunch, the only people we're hurting is mom or dad, whomever are making brown bag lunches. We're hurting the brown bags. Most people, because people get half hour for lunches, but when you're having the big festivals, you have a lot of people who show up.
Right, but the festivals we're talking about are not in the downtown area. I'm talking about communities that create festivities on a Friday or Saturday night that is not off to the side, but right in the downtown area, and you still don't have that from Sarasota.
Not yet. We're hoping to go into Sarasota and hopefully make some changes. We have had open communication with the mayor so far. We'll see if we can move forward. We would love to have some things downtown, but again, it's a vibrant, it works in every other city in the country. It's a vibrant situation where you have thousands and thousands of people show up, and they might see a restaurant, they might go to a restaurant. A few years ago, we had a Cinco de Mayo festival downtown Sarasota, and we were set up across from a Mexican restaurant. They were packed. We were packed. They nonstop. They were serving food because they had an outdoor cafe. It was great. It actually helped them. It was down on Main Street about 3 years ago, and we were set across from a Mexican restaurant and my food truck, and they did great and we did great.
That's good.
The ordinances and the rules have only been changed now, so there must have been some opposition to it all this time. You know, what has changed, and who is pushing back against opening up the food trucks?
We haven't had really any opposition whatsoever because we didn't ask for things. Example, we didn't ask for the Barrier Islands. One, there's not enough parking. There is no place.
That's why I was concerned about it. The parking. It would have been chaotic if they would have came to Siesta Key, St. Armand's. It wouldn't have worked.
Well, the new regulations do not allow us to park on. It's private property only. So example, let's say you have
only if I would want you to come, you would be able to come. That makes sense. That's how it should be. But remember, also, like, there's county parking. So how does that work? Would they be able to? Would you guys be able to come up to county?
There is no. We cannot go onto public parking.
It's only got to be private.
Oh, so it's all got to be private. So therefore,
it will work out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So Gulfgate, example, there was some public parking along the street where his restaurant is. We are not allowed to park there. That is part of the new regulations. We are only allowed if example, let's say he wanted me to come there on a Saturday and he got approval When I get approval to go there, boom, we go up, we show up, and we serve.
Phil, are there any efforts that you are aware of by restaurant owners to start pushing back if you are that concerned that a food truck pulling up in front of your business?
If it was going to happen like that, I'm sure everyone would have been upset and people would have been feeling the same way I feel. But if it's happening the way he's saying it, that they're not allowed to go on Superior Ave and Golfgate, you know what I mean? Yeah, now, if it changes, then it's going to be a big problem. You know?
Well, where are we going with this? Because obviously it's a huge county, but
it's a huge county, but there's not a lot of people. It's not like New York City. This isn't Philly. This isn't Miami. This isn't LA. You don't have 1,000 people walking down the street. You know what I mean? And it's not flooded like that. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I can't see any good with a food truck coming to Siesta Key or a food truck going over there to Superior. And that's just how
a lot
I
of
feel.
people may be wondering right now, especially the snowbirds who are here, who are from New York or Boston or any large metropolitan area, and know that if you go into New York City, you could buy a falafel at the end of the street. Would that work in a place like downtown Sarasota?
No, it definitely would not work. The only way it would work is if there was thousands of people walking in the streets. I was downtown Sarasota today getting my hair cut, and I mean, it's not packed like that. There's not so many people walking in the street. Like even that guy selling coffee in the street, you know, he makes good coffee, very nice person. But at the same time, I mean, imagine if someone wanted to open up a coffee spot, they wouldn't do it now because someone's selling coffee in the street.
Chris, would you like to see this?
I believe it would bring more people to the area. People actually come and search out food trucks. We have people who search out. My wife, example, today when she was open at the Philippi Creek Market today, she was able. I fielded over 35 people searching for her today on Facebook, that they were looking for her. She brought people to that Philippi Market today who also bought produce, who bought other things. When you bring more people down to a downtown area for a food truck, you're bringing them to do more business. Now, if people see other restaurants, or if they see other things, they are going to spend more money because they're there. It is most of the food trucks are very small mom and pop operations trying to make a living. Two people who were sent on the county commission, Paul Cargillo and Alan Mayo. Both of them have owned restaurants and do own restaurants, and both of them said in private conversations, but they both said that they would love to have food trucks in front. They don't have a problem with them being in front of their
Phil, are you
restaurants.
sold, or you still have
Definitely
reservations?
not sold. Which restaurants do they own? I'll pull up Solozano's Pizza in front of their place and sell some pizza by the slice, and let me know how they feel about that. They won't feel too good. They'll be coming to buy my slices for $4.
Well, here's what we have found. Okay, no one has ever been able to prove. We've proven with facts that we increase restaurant business, but everybody, but a knee-jerk reaction saying we're going to hurt restaurants without showing me facts and proof. We already have all the. I can email it to you tonight. We have all the facts and proof of it not hurting restaurants. So what we need to do, I mean, and if you're afraid,
see, I've been on Siesta Key for 8-9 years. When they have Siesta Fiesta, horrible. They bring all these vendors that aren't even from Sarasota, which you agree about. I agree they should be from Sarasota. If you're going to bring a vendor that's going to sell food, at least be from our hometown so we can get the money coming back.
They bring them from
Miami or Georgia, and then they spend money, and then they leave with our money. So that makes no sense to me at all.
That's a new
thing.
thing.
You guys always leave the best part to the last. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll have final thoughts with our guests just in a moment. And some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, which was nothing controversial, Obamacare.
Oh my God.
Welcome back. How will new food rules when it comes to food trucks affect Sarasota County, and could the city be next to make loosen restrictions? Our guests join us now for final thoughts. Question from a viewer: can a resort owner on someplace like Siesta Key invite a food truck onto their property?
No, they can't.
Good.
They would have to pull, the food truck owner would have to work with them and try to pull a temporary use permit for that specific spot. And at this point, every time that I've tried, or other food trucks have tried, we have been shot down. They have not allowed it to happen as of yet. Now, I have been working on this for about 3 years. If a viewer or somebody wants to talk about having a food truck out there, they can contact me at srqfoodtruckalliance.com.
Okay. Phil, obviously we have a difference of opinions here in terms of the expanding use of food trucks around here. You're not against them totally. You're just...
No, I'm definitely not. I'm not against them because I have one. I'm against people disrespecting other restaurants. If you sell food in front of someone else's establishment that sells food, that doesn't work out. You know what I mean? Like I can't, unless you were already selling food with a food truck, and then I came and paid rent after and decided to come, then that makes sense because I'm making a decision now that I already see there's a food truck there. But if I've been there for 9 years, I'm paying my rent, and all of a sudden now some food truck's gonna come, okay, that'll be okay if my rent's $50 now. You know what I mean? There's got to be compromises.
Chris, is there
a
possibility that we're going to start on this and then find, restaurant owners pushing back and trying to get more restrictive rules here?
I don't see it happening, mainly because basically what you're asking to do is protectionism. Protecting a restaurant or any business from competition, healthy competition. An example where he
that's not healthy competition.
Where he's
healthy
at
competition
right now,
when you pay the same rent, when you pay taxes.
where he's at right now, he has all these restaurants.
That's healthy competition.
There's a bunch of restaurants.
Now we spend 20 grand on a truck, you know.
But and they're allowed to compete.
Competition to speak right now.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to have to leave it right there. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, Obamacare. President-elect Donald Trump has vowed to repeal and replace it. Just yesterday, he appointed a fierce Obama critic, Congressman Tom Price, as his Secretary of Health and Human Services. Roughly 20 million Americans rely on the Affordable Health Care Act, including nearly 2 million Floridians. Here is what some of you are saying. Robert McCallie writes, this is the Republicans have had years now to come up with a replacement. We have all seen how that has worked out. The ACA isn't perfect, but I'm more frightened that they will throw out the baby with the bathwater. William Burke writes, Obama would have vetoed any bill the Republicans could have proposed. The ACA is one of his so-called legacy acts, and it will be repealed soon enough, along with a safety net for those without coverage. And Carolyn Chambers writes, the fact that President Obama would surely veto any bill to repeal the ACA did not stop the House from voting 60 times just to do that. Republicans never had any desire to remove the ACA. Their goal from the beginning was to repeal it. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, want to watch past Roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thank you to our guests for being here tonight. Chris Jett is the founder of SRQ Food Truck Alliance. He operates the Baja Boys Grill food truck with his wife, and Phil Solizano is the owner of Solizano's Pizzeria, Siesta Keys, Solizano's Late Night Pizzeria in Gulfgate.
There you go.
And the CG Hookah Lounge.
The GG Hookah Lounge. Don't forget about Solizano's.
And I'm getting hungry for dinner.
My parents' place. The best.
When we return, we'll have a look